All right. Shout out to everyone that's on the stream this evening. I thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to get on the stream tonight. Moderator, if the music is sufficiently at the right levels, put a 1 in the chat box. Chat box if it's good. And we're getting started. Good evening, everyone. I trust that everyone who catches the stream that are on right now watching me live, or for those of you that got on the stream and see it after it's already went live, I thank you again, as always, for giving of your time to taking importance in the talking points that are expressed on each one of these streams. With that being said, I want to thank everyone personally that see this stream. Thank you so much for your birthday wishes to me. I appreciate it. God is good. He gave me one more year. One more year to keep talking to you. And I am excited to do so. So as long as he keeps giving me time, I intend to use that time productively as best I can. A perfect message coming from an imperfect vessel, but I thank you anyway, all of you that sent me birthday wishes, so many of you, and I really appreciate it. I had a wonderful birthday. I was with family and friends, you know, the most important people you can be around, family and friends, and I had a good birthday. I did. For those of you that are wondering how old I turned 54. And I do believe I make this thing look good. I do believe I make this thing look real good. So don't be scared to get 54 if you're not 54 yet. And yeah, so I had a great time. I really enjoyed my birthday. Shout out to Gail for getting on the stream. Shout out to Abdul. And shout out to, can't see everybody. I never can. It seems Facebook likes to hide you guys. But shout out to all of you that get on the stream. Shout out to you. Your participation is absolutely valuable. I appreciate it. Let's get into it. What is tonight's subject? The modern woman puts sex over substance, denial over accountability. The modern woman puts sex over substance and denial over accountability. All right, let's get into it. What are we talking about? The characteristics of the modern woman today. It frees up most men. It frees them up. And what comes are the devastating implications. And with that, ladies, with that, I'm going to go into depth as to what I mean. And with those implications, and you and the behavior of modern women today, freeing up men, those implications, you have to ask yourself a question. Why would a man want to take the suicidal risk? The modern woman today, as we know and as we see in our communities everywhere, not just in New Jersey, but throughout the United States and even outside of the United States, women, black in particular, is promiscuous. And the men you go after or claim you want, the effect is unfair to the man, because if he's truly interested in you, the deck is already stacked against him with the behavior from the beginning. Because if that man is taking over the responsibility and the results of what promiscuity gives, which is children that do not, in many cases, belong to him. I want you to listen, ladies, don't get triggered. Her inability to choose well and lead, and then she leads with her vagina. It spells a risk for a good man, but he will explore your body. I promise you that. Now, ladies, listen. Why are you ladies requiring the best from a man when he cannot expect the best of you because it's been given away before he met you? Here's the question. Are you a virgin? Let's talk about it. A virgin woman, by definition, has 80% chance of maintaining and sustaining a relationship and or marriage. Why? Because she doesn't have a high body count. See, ladies, it's the body count that gets in your way. And sadly, to my sad regret, so many ladies, women in general, black women in particular, they don't value the detriment that a high body count brings, the outcomes that a high body count brings, and the perception from a man's point of view. You know, the men that she may want, or the men who may be desirous of her. Finding a high body count changes the whole decision, right? Okay, let's go into it. Cultivating sex versus intimacy, real, true intimacy. And understanding intimacy versus sex. It's more about an emotional connection, while sex by itself is about physical arousal. Learn to wait, ladies. Learn to wait for sex. I'm going to explain to you as I go forward how important it is for you to wait. And I'm really directing this to the younger ladies that may see this stream. At whatever point you see it, learn to wait. Protect your sacred place. Learn to wait. Okay? Learn to wait for sex, ladies, so that you can learn to cultivate physical intimacy. Our sexual energy is controlled by and governed. It's not only controlled, but it's governed by our emotions. Ladies, you are not going to be able to control your sexual energy if you're emotionally unstable. This will cause you not to take serious the man you're contemplating on having sex with. If you lack the strength to say no to the arousal that comes natural to every human being, if you lack the strength to say no before you're truly ready, it leads to a whole host of problems that later on turn you into what you know not. Start from therapy to understand your secret places, not just on your biology, but your secret places in your mind. You know, the place you hide from everyone. If you don't do this, it will lead you to physical sex to satisfy a natural urge, absent of real outcomes. Absent of real outcomes. Ladies, understand, the modern woman allows her sacred place. Now I'm talking about the biology, your body. She allows her sacred place to be accessed, absent of responsibility. It's reflective of low self-esteem and fear of commitment in most cases. Fear, scarcity, and lack is what moves so many women, black women in particular. That's what moves most women, and black women in particular. It's this fear of being hurt, fear of being abandoned. You know, the fear of true intimacy, it runs deep among our women in general, black women in particular. It runs deep due to bad choices that could have been avoided if, in fact, they were taught better, and the results are catastrophic. It's able to be seen and witnessed throughout every community, the black community in particular. It's able to be seen and witnessed. Many of us have witnessed it within our own family. Oh man, the results are catastrophic. It's catastrophic on both sides. Because like ladies, like you have not been taught properly. We have not been taught properly either, and I've mentioned this in other streams. Women have not been taught how to be wives, much less how to be respectable, feminine, the importance of being fit, friendly, non-confrontational, non-combative as it relates to the opposite sex. You know, the future, the men who she would either aspire to be with, or the men who would even be interested in her. She hasn't been taught. And likewise, we have not been taught. Black men have not been taught what it is to be a husband, what it is to be a man, what it is and what it takes to hold the awesome responsibility of having a relationship with a woman. I've said this to so many men, that when you see a woman, you don't see sex. A healthy mind should see responsibility. Oh yeah, because that's exactly what it represents. It represents a whole lot more than sex. It represents responsibility. And I will tell you this, men that can't meet their responsibility, it does something to them psychologically, it does something to them emotionally, it does something to them. They either get better or they get worse. And this is why I said therapy is so important for not just you ladies, but it's important for the entire black community. For so many different reasons, on so many different levels. To simply think that we can throw mud up against the wall and find out what sticks, or hope that something sticks, is really playing life like a casino game, where the odds are always against you for not taking strategic steps to get the necessary assistance in getting better. One thing I'll tell you this, I don't speak from a position of superiority, not at all. All of us can do better, including myself. All of us can do better. Because at the end of the day, as I've always said, regardless of whatever issues that any of us have, women in general, black women in particular, men in general, black men in particular, whatever issues we have, they must at some point be addressed. Otherwise, the outcomes remain. The outcomes remain. There is no easy button. There is no easy button. The biggest war that you will ever have to fight in your lifetime, ladies, will be with yourself. With yourself. And with the programming that so many women, black women in particular, so many men, black men in particular, have had to deal with, fight with for most of their life. You will find that your worst enemy is yourself. It won't be the guy next door. No. It won't be the relationships that you made, that you chose, ladies. And now you're angry at yourself, and you're angry at the world, and you're mad, and you have a low level of disrespect for the men that share your reflection. I promise you this. They're not your enemy. No, they're not your enemy. The enemy is your inability to choose better. That's your enemy. And the root cause of your inability to choose better is yourself. That principle applies to both of us. Black women, women in general, black men, men in general. That principle applies to both. So, once you can identify where the roadblocks are in your life, when we can identify the roadblocks in our life, whether it's people, whether it's places, whether it's things, those people, those places, and those things will serve as a permanent roadblock in the upward progress of where we desire to go as it relates to success financially, if that's your desire. And it will also serve as a roadblock in terms of relationships and or marriage. These are aspects of every person's life that they must address, that they must face head on. If not, throw in the towel. You know, you see in a fight, when the guy has had enough, he's just had enough. He don't want to fight no more. And what happens? He tells his corner, I'm done. I quit. And what do? They throw in the towel. You know, at some point, we have to wave the white flag against dysfunction. We have to learn how to wave the white flag against dysfunction. Sometime, at some point, we have to get to a place like a good wrestler where we have to tap out and say, you know what? I'm done. Enough is enough. And I will tell you, ladies, leading with your sexuality. Stop giving and making it easy. Stop making it easy for men who don't mean you no good. Stop making it easy. What do you mean easy, Charles? Stop making it easy by giving him the best, one of the best parts of you, which is your body. Stop it, ladies. For any of my young sisters that see this stream, I need you to listen. I know you have girlfriends, and they seem to be having so much fun. They seem to be so excited, you know? They seem to have the freedom to move where perhaps maybe you can't move like that because your parents are holding you close because they don't want to see you go left. I want to tell you, and some of you mothers that have young daughters and you think that being their friend is the best route to take. I want to tell you, ladies, you're losing your daughters like that. You were not put in their life to be their friend. They don't need you to be their friend. They need you to be their mother. Why is that important? Because if you don't, they will fall into the same trap that women, black women in particular, are falling into every single day. Nah, you're not your daughter's friend. You're not your daughter's girlfriend. Nah. I know you think when you have conversations with her about every subject and you don't check the subject content that she's telling you about. You don't check it as you should, like a mother, but you kind of try to skate around it in a friendly kind of way. Because here's the thing. You're afraid you're going to lose her affection by telling her what she needs to hear, as opposed to what she wants to hear. What she wants to hear is you coddling bad behavior. Why is this so important? Because it leads into my subject matter tonight. The modern woman, she puts sex over substance, denial over accountability. If a woman is taught that her strongest attribute is her ability to attract a man to her sexually? How does she get that thinking? Where did that thinking come from? It came from a mother who tried in most cases to be her friend instead of her mother. So she finds herself pregnant sooner than she should. How do we further coddle? How do we further enable bad behavior and bad decisions? I'm glad you asked. Although the new life of any child is a special moment, I want to say something to you, ladies, and some of you may get upset, but you need to hear this. Celebrating your daughter, who's a child, who's become sexually promiscuous, and who becomes, because of her promiscuity, she finds herself pregnant earlier than she should, before her brain and before the experience of life has taken hold of her life, and she's begun to do more productive, responsible things. Here's what many of you ladies do, women in general, black women in particular. You give your daughter a baby shower. Help me make that make sense. Help me to make that make sense. What are you telling her? You're telling her, baby, it's okay. It's all right to go out and make babies, absent of committed relationships, absent of marriage. That is what you just told your daughter. Why are you surprised when you find out she's pregnant again? Now you're on baby shower number 2. Unacceptable. I don't care how many of you get mad. Unacceptable. Well, what should I do, Charles, if my daughter becomes pregnant? Make her see the responsibility of it. Make her see the responsibility of it. Sit her down. And first, mother, take responsibility. Where you drop the ball. That's called accountability. Take responsibility of where you drop the ball. But sit her down. Make her understand the responsibility that's associated with her decision and with her outcomes in having a child before her mind is ready. You know, most young ladies repeat the same mistakes that you made, ladies. They repeat the same mistake. They're not doing something new. You remember the old statement of the apple doesn't fall that far from the tree. She's repeating you. So sit her down. Don't give her no damn baby shower. Sit her down. And you explain to her what she should expect for the next 20 plus years. Whether he stays or whether he leaves. Make her understand what she is to expect for the next 2 plus decades. Yeah, that's what you do. That's what a good mother would do. Coddling, that's when you give her a baby shower. So you're gonna reward her for bad behavior, for a bad decision. And it's really, in most cases, I believe, and this is simply my opinion now, that many of you ladies do this with your daughters because you're trying to cover up your own guilt of dropping the ball. So you give her a baby shower to protect your own guilt. You're trying to make yourself feel better by making a glorious situation out of what is a train wreck for a young lady who's not emotionally ready, not mentally ready, not financially ready, and she probably has a man who got her pregnant who just learned how to piss straight last month. Oh yeah, let's talk about it. The modern woman puts sex over substance, denial over accountability. It is destroying our community. Destroying our community. One generation after the next, single mothers, many of whom would have been married had they been taught better. So many, the modern women who find themselves mothers. A bad introduction is what they get into the arena of what's called relationships. They don't know the difference between what's a productive, committed, meaningful relationship as opposed to sex. I heard a young lady say just 2 days ago, she said, it hurt me to my heart. She said, 29 years old. She's 29 years old. She said that the man she's been dealing with for a number of years was married. She said it with no shame. No shame at all. She justified it by saying he wanted a relationship with her. As if she had no choice in the matter. You see the delusion? You see the denial? It's pathological at best. But this is what she said. Then it didn't stop there. Wait for it. This is what she said next. She said, when asked, why won't you leave if he's married, after she stated clearly that he didn't want a relationship. Oh, he wanted relations with her. Now, I want to say this too as a sidebar. When a man wants relations with you, it doesn't mean relationship. He wanted relations with her. Yes, he did. But he didn't want a relationship. And she said the reason she didn't walk away from him is because it was good. Oh my God. Ladies. Woo. She said she stayed with him because it was good. You know, she said the sex was good. So she was willing to tolerate anything because the sex was good. This is a pervasive, dysfunctional sickness that's in our community. I've seen it so many times in my own family and outside of my family. This is a pervasive, sick, dysfunctional behavior amongst women, black women in particular. Sex without substance, denial, accountability. Then when our women find themselves in situations or outcomes that would otherwise goes differently, they're built up with all of this animosity, all of this anger, all of this vitriol, all of this contempt and contention for relationships and or men based on what? Bad choices. Not being taught. Not being led in the right direction. There's an old saying, if the blind lead the blind, they both fall in the ditch. How can someone who does not have the tools necessary to do the necessary maintenance perform the job? How can they do it? You have to at least have it in your heart and in your mind. You have to be that person that when you open your mouth, you actually have something to say. You can tell who a person is when they open their mouth. Forget what they show you. When a person opens their mouth, you can tell what's right here. Because you can't give what you don't have. And so many women, black women in particular, are the toolbox of what's necessary to raise meaningful, productive daughters. Meaningful sons is absent. And as a result, they create carbon copies of themselves on both sides. But you know, I will say this. Why do I focus on women and black women in general, in particular? Why do I do that? Because if the woman is lost, the community is lost. Because where there are no decent women, you will find no decent men. That is a fact. Oh, that's a fact. Because ladies, let me tell you something, like I've said in other streams. You have to give a man something to strive for. You have to be you have to be the kind of woman that compels him to do better. You have to be the kind of woman that forces him to be better. He knows if you're that kind of woman and he's by himself, he knows he can't come down that street. Yeah, what street? Your street. He can't come down that street. Because what you require, he has to measure up to that. And I'm not talking about this false, unrealistic expectation of this modern woman. No, I'm not talking about you. No. Because you don't qualify, many of you, for what you're asking for. I'm talking about that woman who is absolutely wife material. That's who I'm talking about. They come far, few, and in between. You got a better shot at finding one needle in a field of haystacks and finding the woman that describes those characteristics. Very difficult. Very difficult. You may die of old age before you find that. Sex without substance, denial, over accountability has gotten women in general, black women in particular, the worst outcomes. Because sex alone and your ability to attract a man to you physically has become the premier and primary source of you finding yourselves in relationships. And I need to remove the word relationships to be fair, because you're not in relationships. You're in situationships. You're in a situation, not a relationship. You know, the funny thing about situationships, which many of you ladies love to use and post and tag when describing your relationship status. You write situationship or you write complicated. Yeah, it is complicated. There's everything that's complicated with a situationship. You better believe it. There's nothing uncomplicated about a situationship. Why? Because both of them describe nothing. It's so vague to say it's complicated. That's a vague statement. There's no details to that statement. There's no real understanding of the statement. So then the question lands, is it the relationship that's complicated? Or is it he that's complicated? Or ladies, is it you that's complicated? You've heard me say in so many streams, and I'm going to continue saying it. Men control relationships and or marriage. You control access to your body and sex. Stop giving access to your body and childbirth. Please stop it. Until you get the necessary clarity, understanding. If you've had bad outcomes in the past, to where you can get to a place where the bad outcomes don't dictate your decisions going forward. It's only going to hurt you. It's only going to hurt you, ladies. Because, as I've always said, we are better together than we are apart. But I have to append something to that statement, because we are worse in some cases together than we are apart. But ideally, under the right conditions. So I focus at the positive aspect of relationships. So I say, we are better together than we are apart. But ladies, make no mistake about it. I don't support any woman, black women in particular, staying in a bad situation. Not at all. You have to know who you're with. I didn't say you were with a perfect person. Nah, male or female. But you do have to know at its core value who you're with, and whether she's worth it or whether he's worth it to make a decision. But you have to know who you are first, ladies, before you get into a relationship. You have to know what your real situation is, based on upbringing, based on past experience, based on hurts, based on unanswered questions, based on unresolved issues, emotionally, mentally, psychologically. Because if not, the sacred place that you have, one of the sacred places, and there's two sacred places on you, ladies. The first one is here, and the second one is your body. Two sacred places. If you run your body count up with all the bull and garbage and bad information that you've allowed in your mind, and couple it with bad decisions that you make in terms of allowing men to access your body, In the same way information leaves a seed in your brain, is the same way a man leaves a seed in your body. And the outcomes remain. There are no decent men where there are no decent women. If the woman on this planet is the mother, men, women in general, black women in particular, if you, ladies, are the mother of civilization, meaning from you comes all life, it's important that you take it personal, access to your body. Stop letting these bums touch you. Stop it. I know you have urges. I understand. I get it. Sex is as natural as the hunger to eat food. I get it. I get it. I understand. But for you, ladies, you have way too much to lose if you can't fast long enough, physically and mentally, and deny access to your body until you see substance. I'm not talking about money. Now that I'm on that subject, let me touch that for a second also. Ladies, women, black women in particular, to my sisters, his money, I don't care how much money he has. I don't care. Stop playing yourself cheap for a few dollars and allow a bum to touch you. Stop it. You're killing your odds. What are your odds that you're killing? You're killing the odds of you being able to get to the end of life with a meaningful relationship and or marriage. A man loses attention to you, and ladies, you lose value to a man who's worth his own salt. You lose value when you have a high body count. You got, ladies, I want to say this too. You got to stop saying, I was young, I was dumb. The world does not owe any of us any, and I mean any, understanding. And I will promise you this, the world is cruel enough to let you know that they will not give you the understanding that you desire based on bad decisions simply because you were young. They don't care. The world does not care that you were young. The world does not care that I was young. They don't care. Nah, they don't care about that. You care. That's why you believe the world is supposed to care, but they don't. Stop setting yourself up for failure as it relates to relationships, meaningful relationships and or marriage. For some of my young sisters in the urban cities, stop making the price for you and your body a happy meal. Stop making the price for you and your body a puff off a blunt. Stop making the price for you and your body a drink. Stop making the price for you and your body the fact that he lifts weights. Sex. over substance. Delusion, denial, over accountability. Women, black women in particular, stop it. It is, in fact, destroying our community. Stop it, ladies. There comes a point in time in your life as you age. All of this that you find so important, you will find how unimportant it is as you age. I remember when I was younger, there were so many things that I thought I was missing. Even as an older gentleman, I still had this issue where I thought I was missing something. I was missing something, you know. And you make a good situation bad when you're like that. I want to see better outcomes for us, the black community in particular. I'm a black man, that is my focus. This is a man's channel. So I want to see better outcomes for you, ladies. Because here's the thing. If you get better outcomes, by default, we get outcomes that are better with you, right? Get yourself fit, ladies. It's important. Shut down the noise in your ears, where people are talking on social media and television and celebrities that are overweight and morbidly obese because they're successful and because they have money. That excuses the fact that they're unhealthy. And then society coddles undisciplined behavior. Stop listening. Block your ears from the noise. Because in the end, you become the victim. Because the options are not the same for you. Get yourself fit, ladies. Why? Because men are visual. We are attracted by what we see, distracted by what we see, or completely turned away by what we see. Don't you ever forget that. But we will have sex with you if it's free. If it's free. Absent of any major requirements, you know, absent of substance. Oh yeah, men will have sex with you, I promise you that. They'll run your body count up like a highway mileage, Run your body count up like interstate mileage, like the turnpike, or I-95, or Route 66. Run your mileage up. Have you ever seen a car with high mileage that anyone was truly interested in if they could afford a car with no mileage? Have you ever seen it? Many of you that have cars, that was an important aspect for you. Every person that buys a car, they want to know how many miles is on that car. Ladies, I want you to think. Think. If a car, which is a physical thing, a materialistic thing, is important to you in terms of how many miles is on the car. You want to know how many people drove that car. Right? Ladies, how many people have you let drive you? How many mileage, how many miles do you have on you? Stop it. You can stop it today. You can stop it today. Get yourself together, sister. Ladies, get yourself together. Stop letting these bums, again, put their hands on you, touch you. Nah. Keep your nasty hands to yourself. Stop putting sex before substance. And then with your bad outcomes, denial before accountability. That's where the healing starts. That is where the healing starts, ladies. Again, I want to see better outcomes for you. I do. And as a result, those good outcomes, those better outcomes, when you find that healing place, then better outcomes will come to us as men who desire you as a result. We are better together than we are apart. I hope you ladies that watch this stream after it's aired, I know many of you misunderstand my stream. I'm positive that you do. You misunderstand my stream, and you misunderstand the talking points. And as a result, you avoid the talking points. I get it. I do. I do. I get it. But I will tell you this. If you listen to the streams from a good place, and more importantly, in good faith, you will come to the conclusion of where the talking points come from. And I'll tell you where they come from. They come from a good place. A good place. So again, I hope the stream made an effect on those of you that hear the stream either now while it's live or hear it after its completion. Again, I thank you for getting on the stream tonight. Shout out to all of you again for wishing me a happy birthday yesterday. I really appreciate you for that. I'm super thankful. God gave me one more year. One more year to talk to you. I don't know what next year brings. But I will tell you this. As long as I can breathe, I'm going to talk to us. I'm going to talk to us. And because I want to see better things for us. We are better together than we are apart. I am Charles Chambliss. This is another stream of Let's Talk About It. With that being said, we are out. Have a good night, folks.